Hello, everyone. Nancy here. And I wanted to jump on and really do a video about something that's like super random, but it seems to be a theme, kind of a reoccurring thing in my life. And I wonder if anyone else out there kind of experiences some of these same type of things. So anyway, so I actually have my notes pulled up here and I'm going to kind of go through a couple of these things. But what I'm talking about today is, have you ever had those weird kind of like magical things happen in your life and you can't really explain it? So that's what this video is about. I'm going to share with you a few different examples of how this happened in my life. And, here's the thing. I have a pretty big open mind. I am open to different things, but I just feel like this stuff has kind of happened throughout my life. And, I think it's important to pay attention to the little things and connect patterns and, really pay attention sometimes. But anyway, so I'm going to share them with you. And again, feel free to put in the comments. I'd be curious to hear if anyone else out there feels this way or has had kind of like strange things happen to you that you can't really fully explain. Would love to hear about it. So the first thing that I really wanted to share was crazy stuff that happened. In fact, my first on the list is years ago, I actually was working, I was doing project management for someone, and it happened to be that the person who I was working with couldn't afford to pay me. And it was really scary because, I was really, living kind of month to month as I was building and growing my business, and person couldn't afford to pay me. And so I really remember, in fact, I remember going to pick up wine and I was sitting in my car and I'm like, I need a solution. I need a job right now. I need something else where I can bring in some money. And right then and there, thinking, I got a message from someone who I used to work with. And she said, hey, there's actually, someone that needs help with some marketing stuff. You're awesome at project management. We're really looking for someone. Would you be interested? And I remember thinking, like, holy cow, like, ask and receive like right away. It was just crazy. So that happened, right? And that's not the first time, right? I think of people, in fact, I have so many different situations where I was thinking of a particular person or we were just talking about someone and that person reached out, whether it was on Facebook or whether it was on like email. In fact, I was like, oh, I really want to get a testimonial from so and so. And literally they sent me an email like as soon as I said it, which is crazy. And I never asked for the testimonial. I mean, weird things like that. So the other thing that I thought was really interesting is I've had weird dreams. So I actually had an epiphany one night at like 2 in the morning. And this is just so strange. I just had this feeling that kind of like overtook me. And it was almost like I was like, I don't even know, like spinning in this like portal. And I was kind of just like really hyper focused. And it felt to me, it was like my dad, who actually previously passed away, was like coming to me in my dream. And he was saying that the biggest thing that's been holding our family back, and it's like a whole family thing, is having confidence. And he was telling me, he's like, Nancy, confidence is everything. You need to, think about confidence and whatever. And I remember it's actually so crazy because I picked up this book the other day. It was actually on my husband's bookshelf. And it was the journal that I had next to my bed. And that night I had that dream. It was actually sitting by my bedstand. And I remember writing, it was in the dark. So it says confidently. And I remember writing, like, I couldn't see, but like, I was like, oh my God, I need to write this down. And so I started jotting down all this stuff that was like rushing to me. And it's like, confidently knowing what you want is the secret key to living your dreams. Going confidently in the direction of your dreams, live the life that you imagined, right? It's a Thoreau quote that actually, um, I don't know. It's a quote that like I had hanging in my office. Well, now I have hanging in my office, obviously, after this dream. And I just started thinking of all these things around confidence. And it's like I think about a lot of the great people in our family that, that is probably some of the things that we're lacking, right? There's a lot of genius there, but, actually putting ourselves out there and being confident is not our strong suit. And so anyway, it just got me thinking. And I had actually picked up a book that my dad had given me. And the bookmark in there was the Thoreau quote, which was go confidently in the direction of your dreams, live the life that you've imagined. So this theme, it keeps popping up. And actually the other day, again, I was drawn to grab this out of the bookshelf and I opened it up and I'm like, oh my God, that's so weird. It's whenever I had that crazy dream like years ago. So anyway, I just thought that was like so crazy that, it was so important that it kind of like hit me in an interesting way. Now, I'm going to go a little bit deeper for some really crazy stuff that's happened. So, there was a time in my life I was kind of in the middle of, a relationship and kind of like at a turning point in my life where I just felt like I wasn't living the life I should be living. Like, I was almost living like in a parallel line, and it's like my timeline here and then my actual life was over here. And I just always felt that like, I wasn't living the life that I was supposed to. It just nothing felt right. And so I remember just like, kind of praying and hoping and thinking like, oh my God, like, please give me a sign, tell me what do I need to do? And I just was feeling like so lost. And so all within the span of literally just like a couple days, a couple crazy things happened. And one was I went to go get my blood work done. Okay. And this was, 11 something in the morning. It was a walk-in appointment, right? Meaning I didn't have to make an appointment. I just walked in. So I go up to the lady that was at the check-in counter and she said, okay, name and date of birth. And my date of birth is April 15th. So I said, my date of birth, April 15th, whatever. And she goes, haha, very funny. And I'm like, what do you mean? And she's like, no, I mean, like your date of birth. What's your date of birth? And I'm like, April 15th. And her face like went white. And I'm like, is everything okay? And she said, that's my birthday. And she goes, that's the birthday of the person that just also signed in and came. And she's like, literally 3 birthdays in a row. Like, we're all the same birthday. And I'm like, what? So I'm like, wow, that's kind of interesting. So I kind of was like really paying attention. I'm like, all right, I'm looking around here, like, what's going on? So that within literally, like I said, like within 24 hours. So I actually had ordered Chinese that night. And every day on my phone at about 8 a.m., I get a quote. And the quote of the day that popped up was experience is the name that we give our mistakes. And it was an Oscar Wilde quote. Well, I'm kidding you not. I opened up my fortune cookie and it was the same exact quote. I almost get goosebumps like thinking about it. But again, I was already paying attention. I was like, oh my God, like this is crazy. And that happened. And so it really just, I don't know. I mean, it really got me paying attention. Anyway, I obviously changed a lot in my life, but that was like a pivotal, crazy thing that happened. The other thing that I just think is absolutely wild is this. Okay. So, I had actually met up with my family for, a day. My cousin, actually, Caroline, she came to visit. We were bopping around to different, antique stores. And we walked into this one store. It was in Philadelphia. And I kind of like, energetically, you kind of get just like this intuition, kind of like a feeling. Well, I had this feeling and I just wanted to pick up this book. Okay. It's a Tennyson birthday book. See if you can see it. Okay. So it's a Tennyson birthday book. Really, really old as hell. I mean, the pages are like taped together. It even has like, some information in the back there. It's got Morse code, which if anybody knows Morse code, I mean, I would love to learn what that is. What that says. But anyway, so I had actually just picked up the book and the first page that I opened to Let me see if I can pull this up. All right. This is the first page I opened to. Okay. And if you can see there, it says Nancy Evans died May 15th. Holy shit. So again, I'm like, whoa. Okay. So again, first page I opened this to, Tennyson birthday book. That's not even the wildest thing. I looked in there to see how much the book was. The book was like $7. I reached into my pocket. I never carry cash. This place was cash only. I had exactly $7 in my pocket. So I was like, holy cow, this is crazy. So again, some of this stuff I just feel like is too specific and so crazy. I mean, I can't just be that like, I don't know, lucky or I don't know, whatever. Anyway, so that was another strange thing that happens. Some other things that I think are interesting. Again, some notes that I wrote in here. I thought it was really interesting because I had made a shift. I had actually gone into entrepreneurship and I had quit, the job that I was, doing. And I actually ran into my old boss on a flight. And it was crazy. It was a 1 p.m. flight. I was flying to Florida with my mom, my sister. We'd actually taken the week off. And my boss, my old boss, was like, getting ready to go to like a work thing. And he was kind of like just looked exhausted. And, it was just so interesting because it was like right there. It was like, whoa, this was what life was, and then here I was like going and taking like a vacation. And I don't know, it was just like this weird, like, hey, look, like, I don't know. But anyway, very interesting to me that it was just like this random flight on a Tuesday, by the way, to the same place. We were going to Florida on the same time, same day. Another thing that was strange. So my husband and I, when we were moving from our apartment, we had reached out to someone on Facebook. We had actually listed our couch for free. And we said, hey, you can come pick it up, like just come grab a truck and like you can have it. And so a guy responded and he came and he was sharing with us, some impactful things in life and just like I can't even remember, but he really like left an impression. I was thinking like, wow, this guy's like really cool and just whatever. And not even 3 days later I get a message on Facebook and it was his wife and she said that he had died, like literally like a couple days later, like after picking up the thing, he had gone into the hospital and just died. And so that, again, that kind of gives me goosebumps, but just totally random. But, obviously it was a strange thing. I think it's interesting in our family. So sometimes we attract certain people. So my name's Nancy. My mom's name's Nancy. My sister-in-law's mom's name is Nancy. And my mother-in-law's name is Nancy. That's kind of weird, right? Take it a step further. My dad's name was Robert. My brother's name is Robert. My sister's husband's name is Robert, and his dad's name is Robert, I believe. So crazy, right? So anyway, that's pretty strange. I thought it was strange. So our house, so my husband, we weren't even in the market for a house. My husband looks on, Zillow and he says, hey, let's check out this house. Not even when we should be looking at houses. We go check it out and he's like, this is our house. Like, we're going to have this house. And I'm like, how? Like, we shouldn't even be looking right now. Like, it makes no sense. Anyway, we got the house. We're living here now. But I thought the interesting thing is our address is Robin, has a bird name in it. And I raised robins growing up. And then the other thing is at the house, there's koi, right? We actually have 2 koi ponds and then we have a goldfish pond in the entryway. And this house had the biggest, chubbiest goldfish I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, guys, if you've, I've never seen a goldfish before like that was bigger than that. This goldfish was like this, like 10, 15-year-old goldfish, and it was like this big. Okay. Now, the ironic and crazy thing about that was my whole life, I've always loved chubby goldfish, right? That was actually my first company that I started whenever I was in my teens. I started like a sterling silver jewelry. It was called the Chubby Goldfish Co. And so chubby goldfish was always something that I've like had. I mean, I own the domain for it. But anyway, I just thought it was so strange and ironic that again, that was the case. So anyway, so that is interesting. Oh, okay. So this is another thing. So in August of 2021, around that time, I actually went to my doctor. I had this pain in my side, almost like a runner's cramp, like a nonstop runner's cramp, almost like somebody like poking me, like a nagging pain. And after experiencing this pain for like an entire month, I mean, trust me, I like drank tons of water. I started eating better. Like, I mean, I was just like, what the heck? And it was just this nagging pain. And I think it was my gallbladder at this point. I really don't know what it was. But anyway, I went to the doctor and I told him, I said, look, scan me. Please scan me. I need to check and see what's going on. So he sent me for an MRI. We got the MRI back and he said, yeah, there's something a little funky. It's probably a cyst or something, on your kidney. And he said, I'm going to have you go back in and do or I'm sorry, he sent me for a CT scan the first time, and then he sent me for an MRI. So when I went for the MRI, I actually, it was a horrible experience. I had like a panic attack in the tube, but it was tough. It was rough. But anyway, so on the MRI, it was found that I had kidney cancer. I actually had, a cancerous growth, on my kidney. And we were able to catch it. So I went back to the doctor. I remember, I waited to see him, it was on a Friday. And I remember sitting there and he walked over and he's like, well, this isn't the news that we wanted, and he told me that I had cancer. And I'm like, what? And he's like, and by the way, it's probably completely unrelated to the pain that you're feeling. In fact, the size and, what everything's looking like, it shouldn't cause any pain. So it's really kind of crazy that we caught it. So anyway, so I was able to obviously get it removed. And even the doctor said, I asked him, I was like, well, if we hadn't caught this, what would have happened? And I quote, the one urologist was like, you would have died. This would have spread. It probably would have spread throughout your body into your lymph nodes. And, the high probability that, by the time you're 40, 45, 50, whatever, you could have died. So I'm just like, holy shit, and again, he's like, obviously this is phenomenal that, we caught it this early. So I even had the surgery, and even after surgery, that dull ache did come back every once in a while, but it wasn't what was causing it. So I just think again, it was kind of like really crazy how something like that happened and we were able to find it, get ahead of it, and pretty interesting. I did jot down in my notes in 2022, I had weird dreams I dreamt of a little girl standing in a dress, 3 to 5 years old, with her mouth taped shut. That's so strange and creepy. I also had dreams of lizards and getting their heads cut off. So if anybody knows what that means, that's kind of creepy. And then I wrote this month, I had a dream about the Love is Blind guy who married that girl in the one series, and I ended up marrying him, and I was like this bridezilla. Anyway, I have the weirdest dreams. But anyway, so if anybody knows what any of that means, would love to hear thoughts. But anyway, so I really am curious again, have you guys ever experienced just weird, crazy things? Have you ever thought of someone and then they reach out to you? What is that? What is the energy? I mean, I've always felt like a very intuitive person, but I would just be curious to see if there's others out there who might experience these weird things as well. And, it just, I don't know, it's very interesting. But I do know, even, my mom said one time as we were walking, totally random, looked over and told me, she said, do you ever feel magic? Like you're magical? And I'm like, yeah. And that was it. That was the conversation. So anyway, do you feel magical? Would love to hear. Again, post your comments below. Please share if you've ever had any of these strange things. Would love to hear more. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more random videos. Later.